Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Best Online Medical Lectures. Today we are going to discuss about dengue fever. Okay, so this is a major public health problem worldwide, and regarding the CBME syllabus, that is the competency based medical education syllabus of National Medical Commission India, that is NMC, this topic dengue fever, the competency is studied in internal medicine, that is final year MBBS. Also this topic is also studied in community medicine in third MBBS. Also the pathogenesis and is dealt in pathology and microbiology. Also it is a major topic in pediatrics. Okay, so we try to cover all these branches in this series of the videos of the dengue, part 1, part 2 and part 3. So today is the first part about the epidemiology of the dengue fever. Okay, so dengue fever, it's a viral infection caused by the dengue virus. So first, before going details about that, we will just look at the problem statement all over the world. So worldwide, nearly 3.9 billion people in around 128 countries are at risk to get for getting infected by this dengue virus. Then every year, this is the worldwide problem, every year nearly 5 lakh people require the hospitalization, and out of that 5 lakh, 90% of them are children less than 5 years of age, and 2.5% of those children which are affected are usually die because of the dengue complications of dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. Okay, so coming to the Southeast Asia. So Southeast Asia, so it's an endemic in Southeast Asia. So in the Southeast Asia, the countries are divided into category A, B and C. The first category A is where the dengue is hyperendemicity is seen, that is more number of cases are seen. So the countries which comes in Southeast Asia under category A, that is the most virulent, that is Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, Maldives, Myanmar, Sri Lanka and Thailand. Then in the category B, where the endemicity is uncertain, the countries comes are Bhutan, Nepal, and category C, where there is no evidence of the endemicity, is like Korea. Okay, so in the Southeast Asia. Now coming to our country India. So in India, dengue is endemic in nearly 35 states and union territories. So the highest number of cases are seen in states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Punjab and West Bengal. Okay, so these statistics has been taken from the textbook of community medicine by Park. Okay, so to discuss the epidemiology, let's try to see the epidemiological triad of this dengue fever or the dengue disease. So as you all know, epidemiological triad consists of the agent, host and environment. So these three factors together constitute an epidemiological triad. Here agent is the dengue virus and the host is the human or sometimes monkey, and environmental factors is where this mosquitoes or vectors breed. Okay, we'll try to discuss this epidemiological triad in today's lecture. So first, coming to the agent factors. So agent is, as I already described, the dengue fever is mainly due to a dengue virus. So this virus are the members of the genus Flavivirus, family Flaviviridae. So these are a small 50 nanometer viruses which are single stranded RNA. So there are 4 serotypes of this dengue virus: dengue virus 1, dengue virus 2, 3 and dengue virus 4. So this dengue virus, which is an RNA virus, has 4 serotypes: 1, 2, 3 and 4. So infection with one serotype confers lifelong immunity to that virus serotype. That means if there is an infection by dengue virus 1 to a particular person, then the person will have lifelong immunity for that particular serotype only. That is, if there is a reinfection with that dengue virus 1, then the person may not manifest the disease because of the antibodies which will be almost lifelong. However, for other serotypes, the neutralizing antibodies only work for few months, but in fact there are non-neutralizing antibodies which will be dangerous. That means if the a particular person is infected first by the dengue virus 1 serotype and had a disease and recovered, then again after some time, if the same person is infected by the another serotype, say dengue virus 2, 3 or 4, then it is not immune to that next serotype, and in fact it is most dangerous. Okay, so next, so remember, prior immunization, immune sensitization worsens the disease scenario. The same thing, that is, suppose if there is a first infection with the dengue virus 1 serotype, then the asymptomatic or non-specific manifestation of dengue fever will occur, and if it subsides, then again second infection either by this dengue virus 2, 3 or 4, then it will lead to the severe form of the dengue virus disease, that is dengue hemorrhagic fever, dengue shock syndrome or severe disease, which we are going to discuss in detail in the clinical features. So secondary infection with dengue virus 2 or multiple infection with different serotypes causes a severe disease of dengue hemorrhagic fever or dengue shock syndrome. Okay, so the this lifelong immunity is only for a particular serotype. If there is a second reinfection with another serotype, it will lead to the severe complications of the dengue virus. Now coming to the vector, we have discussed about the agent. In that agent is the dengue virus. So how this virus goes to the host, that is the man. So the virus enters the man with the help of an intermediate host, that is the mosquito. So two important mosquitoes are responsible for transmission of this dengue virus to the humankind. So they are Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopicus, mainly Aedes aegypti. Okay, so they are also known as tiger mosquito because of that white strips. Okay, so let's discuss about some of the features of these mosquitoes. Aedes aegypti. So Aedes aegypti is highly domesticated and strongly anthrophilic. So they are nervous feeder, which means it bites more than one host to complete the one blood meal. That is, if a particular this Aedes aegypti mosquito, to complete their whole cycle, they have to bite multiple hosts. So when they bite one, they will suck the blood, but it is not sufficient. So they are known as discordant species. That is, it needs more than one feed for the completion of the gonadotrophic cycle. So these habits epidemiologically result in the generation of the multiple cases and clustering of the dengue cases in the cities. That is, the mosquito will bite more than one people to complete its gonadotrophic cycle. Okay, then the another mosquito, Aedes albopicus, it is feral in nature, that is wild in nature, like Aedes aegypti was domesticated and feeds on both humans as well as animals, and it is an aggressive feeder. That is, it can complete its blood meal in one go. That is, for completion of its meal, only one bite is enough to a one particular person, unlike Aedes aegypti. That is, it is a concordant species. That is, it does not require a second blood meal for the completion of the gonadotrophic cycle. So Aedes albopicus has poor vectorial capacity, that is transmission capacity, as compared to the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So we have discussed about the agent. That is, agent is the dengue virus, and this dengue virus, the agent is transmitted by a vector, mosquito, Aedes aegypti or Aedes albopicus. Okay, so now coming to the environmental factors. So in the epidemiological triad, we have discussed about the agent. Now environment. So environment, just there is a 2-degree rise in temperature in environment. Generally this dengue fever is at the end of the rainy season. Okay, so when the rainy season ends, so generally this dengue epidemic is seen. So a 2-degree rise in temperature will shorten the extrinsic incubation period and more infected mosquitoes to further spread the dengue virus. So rise in temperature, mosquito bites more frequently due to the dehydration. So it will further spread the dengue virus. So environmental factors, increased temperature also more likely for the spread of this disease. And in the environmental factor, most important thing is stagnant water. Okay, so if you see stagnant water in this surrounding, so this vector, that is Aedes aegypti mosquito and Aedes albopicus mosquito, so these mosquitoes will breed in the stagnant water. You can see in these pics in the how the open water sources where it is stagnant. Next, so like this tires, here the water is stored in the flower pots. Okay, in the plants, trees. So open spaces, okay, flower pots and all. So this all spaces where there are accumulation of the water is this cooler and stagnant tires here, not used tires, this open water tank. Okay, so where there is a water source, and that to be good water, okay, not the drainage water. So this is in a good plain water. So these are the environmental factors. So in the environmental factors, we'll also discuss how the transmission takes place. So transmission from one person to another person, how does it take place? So consider this blue line here. So this is human one. Human one, that is a person who is suffering from dengue infection, that is in that person there is a virus. So this is from 0 to 5 days there is viremia phase. Viremia phase means there is virus in the blood. So from 0 to this one there is a illness, that is 1 day after the virus infection up to the 7 days there is a dengue fever or dengue illness. Okay, so up to 0 to 5 days the virus is there in the blood. So mosquito feeds or acquires this virus from the human one, that is from the human one the mosquito will bite in this viremia phase and it will take the virus. Okay, then this virus in the mosquito will multiply and develop. So this is known as extrinsic incubation period. Extrinsic incubation period, it is around 8 to 10 days. Okay, so the virus will multiply in the mosquito, in that is extrinsic incubation period. Then in this red line, that is the human 2. So the mosquito refeeds and transmits the virus to this second human being. Okay, that is the extrinsic period is the period of the development of the organism in the intermediate host. Then the mosquito refeeds the second human being, which is designated here as in the red line here. So when they transmit in the blood of a second human through the mosquito, then the illness will start again after 3 to 14 days, that is known as intrinsic incubation period. Generally it is 4 to 6 days, but it is in a range of 3 to 14 days. That is incubation period means the time period after the entry of an organism and development of signs and symptoms. Okay, so there is intrinsic incubation, that is when the virus enters the human being, immediately there is no clinical manifestation. After some time of 4 to 6 days or here in a range of 3 to 14 days, the incubation period, the virus will multiply and the clinical illness is seen. Okay, so this is how the transmission takes place between the man and the mosquito. So the environmental factors is basically the transmission from the agent, that is the dengue virus. It is transmitted by a vector Aedes aegypti. So it is transmitted by the man and mosquito. So what are the steps for replication and transmission of this dengue virus? How exactly this virus is transmitted by this mosquito to the man? So first is the virus is transmitted to the human in mosquito saliva, that is from an infected mosquito, Aedes aegypti mosquito or the tiger mosquito. So they will infect and bite a human being. Okay, then second, virus replicates in the target organs. Third, virus infects white blood cells and lymphatic tissues. So it will go to all the lymph nodes and spreads. And fourth, virus is released and circulated in the blood. Okay, virus is released and circulated in the blood. Then fifth, second mosquito ingests the virus with the blood. Okay, so when it is already there in a one person, then in that person another next mosquito will ingest the blood. Then sixth, virus replicates in the mosquito midgut and other organs and infects the salivary glands. And finally the virus replicates in the salivary glands of the mosquito. That is, this is the extrinsic incubation period. That is the time period in which the organism develops in the intermediate host, that is the mosquito. Okay, so this is how the transmission takes place. So we have discussed now about the agent as well as the environmental factors. Now we'll discuss finally the last part of the epidemiological triad, that is the host. The host is mostly the human being. So the host, the infective stage generally in a human being is 1 day before the onset of the fever to day 5, and the intrinsic incubation period is 4 to 6 days. However, as I said, it will extend from 3 to 14 days. So who are at high risk for getting this infected. So the high risk patients are extremes of age, that is small children or elderly people, pregnant ladies, or any condition which are prone to heavy blood loss, like patients suffering from peptic ulcer disease or women menstruating, hemolytic anemia, people suffering from hemolytic anemia, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiencies, thalassemia. These are bleeding disorders, patients on steroids and NSAIDs, and any chronic conditions like diabetes mellitus, hypertension, asthma, cirrhosis, ischemic heart disease, and chronic renal failure. So they are at high risk. Okay, so these are the host factors, and once they are infected, there is a spectrum of this dengue viral disease. Okay, majority of these infected people are asymptomatic, as you can see in this diagram. They are asymptomatic, then few are suffering from dengue fever, few will be suffering, again further it is reduced to dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. That is, the complicated cases are only just 2 to 5% of the cases, whereas majority will be asymptomatic or just have a mild viral fever or dengue fever. Complications will be just in 2 to 5% of the cases. Okay, so this is all about the epidemiology and the problem statement of the dengue fever. Okay, so in the next video we'll discuss about the clinical manifestation of the dengue, and further we'll discuss about the laboratory diagnosis and treatment of the dengue disease. Okay, thank you very much.